Okay, so I've got a quick video here to show some of the improvements made by one of my students, Tony. Now on the left here we've got Tony's golf swing during an initial assessment that we did, taking a look at things. What Tony was struggling with was just his strike. He was essentially getting some mishits with his irons and just wanted to try and strike the ball a little bit better. So what we saw, as I say, during the assessment here on the left, Tony wasn't far away at all. Had a really good golf swing, see backswing, sort of setup is excellent, gets into a very, very good position. But then where we've seen a little bit of a problem is Tony would tend to bring the club down very, very steep, and this would create quite a steep angle of attack down into the ball, and also swinging very much to the left. Now from this position here, with this sort of steep shaft coming down, sort of in this position here, pointing very much down towards the ground, what it meant was that Tony had to manipulate the club through impact in order to strike the ball well and make a compensation, essentially. Now Tony wasn't quite doing that in time. He couldn't quite compensate and manipulate the club enough to strike the ball cleanly as he needed to from this position, and that's why he was getting the miss hits. So you can see a bit of a miss hit here, and then through impact is now when he's trying to manipulate it. You can see quite aggressively pulling in with that left arm, and it was just wasn't timing the compensation as he needed to. So what we needed to do with Tony was to take away the need to have to manipulate the club in order to get a good strike on the ball. And we did this with a really, really simple concept that worked really well for Tony. So on the right hand side here, what we can see is that Tony is setting up with the club, with the ball right off the toe of the club head, and that was this really simple concept that I wanted Tony to have, was to set up with the club head or the ball right behind the toe of the club head, and then essentially just trying to hit the ball out of the toe where he's got it lined up. That was never going to happen, but what worked really well, and we'll see, is that this totally changed his swing and got him hitting the ball out the centre of the club head and vastly improved the quality of strike. So if we take this away, we can see now the backswing didn't change a whole lot. Maybe got the arms, the hands a little bit deeper in the backswing, but then from here we're going to see a really big difference. We'll compare the two. So if we look on the right hand side, this brought the shaft down on a much more shallower plane and much more from the inside. So if we stop it here now, we can see this shaft, if we draw the same line we did before, pretty much dissecting and is on the same line as the right forearm. When we compare this to on the left hand side, we can see a big difference. We'll see the shaft here on the left hand side is nowhere near the line of the right forearm. So from this position on the right, Tony wasn't needing to manipulate. He can just swing through and get a good strike on the ball. That was, as I say, getting him a little bit more, a path more in to out. It was creating a much more shallow angle of attack. And from here we can see he doesn't need to compensate. He can just turn through, and we can see there striking the ball much more out the centre of the club face, much cleaner, more consistent strike. Because he doesn't need to manipulate it as much as well, you can see he comes through into a nice balanced full follow through. Or again, if we can compare that on the left, because he's trying to manipulate it, nowhere near as much of rotation and nowhere near as much as a balanced finish and follow through as on the right hand side there. So that's a good example of a really big sort of change that happened, big improvement in consistency of strike, as I say, and brought about by a very simple concept of just trying to hit the ball out of the toe. It's not going to work for everyone, but it worked very, very well for Tony here. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this useful. For more videos, tips, reviews, things like that, you can follow me on Twitter at RCGolfPro, and on my Instagram for daily video tips as well, RCGolfPro. Thanks for watching.